Ghana's coastline, a captivating tapestry of golden sands, azure waters, and vibrant communities, has borne witness to centuries of history. Known as the Gold Coast during colonial times, this stretch of West Africa attracted European powers seeking wealth and influence. Yet, this period also saw the horrors of the transatlantic slave trade, a dark chapter that forever stains the history of this land. But Ghana's spirit remained unbroken, with its vibrant culture and resilient people continuing to resonate along its coasts. From the sun-drenched shores of the Volta region to the historic castles of Cape Coast and Elmina, these architectural marvels offer a tangible link to Ghana's complex past. Each stone, each archway, each dungeon holds within it a story waiting to be told. These forts and castles, with their imposing facades and intricate designs, stand as testaments to the architectural ingenuity of their time. As we explore these historical landmarks, we uncover the stories of African kings and merchants who negotiated with European powers and the resilience of local communities. Through their preservation, Ghana's forts and castles serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of remembrance and the enduring pursuit of freedom and equality for all. Our journey begins in the Volta region of Ghana, a land of shimmering lagoons and verdant mountains that meet the sea. Among the most notable is Fort Prinsenstein at Quetta, built by the Danes in 1784, serving as a key trading post for ivory, gold, and tragically, enslaved Africans. Today, Fort Prinsenstein stands as a stark reminder of the complex history of the region. Further north, near the town of Sogakope, lie the ruins of Fort Kongenstein, built by the Brandenburg Africa Company in 1737. These early forts offer a unique glimpse into the early stages of European engagement with the Gold Coast and the strategic importance of the Volta region. The forts and castles of the Volta region played a crucial role in the transatlantic trade. They served as points of exchange where European goods were traded for gold, ivory, and tragically, enslaved Africans. The fort's dungeons, once used to store goods, became holding cells for captured Africans awaiting transportation across the Atlantic. Beyond their role in trade, the forts also served as vital military strongholds, protecting European interests from rival powers and local resistance. As we explore these fortifications, we gain a deeper understanding of the complex interplay between trade, defense, and power that shaped the history of the Gold Coast. Moving westward along Ghana's coastline, we arrive in the Greater Accra Region, home to the bustling capital city of Accra. Dominating the Accra coastline is Usher Fort, originally built by the Dutch as Fort Crève Coeur in 1649. Usher Fort served as a major trading post for gold, ivory, and unfortunately, enslaved Africans. Just a stone's throw from Usher Fort stands Osu Castle, constructed by the Danes in 1660 as Christiansborg Castle. The forts and castles of the Greater Accra region stand as powerful reminders of the region's complex and often turbulent past. Continuing our journey westward, we arrive in Ghana's central region, a region steeped in history and cultural significance. The central region's forts and castles are not merely historical relics, they are solemn spaces for reflection, remembrance, and reconciliation. Among the many forts dotting this coastline, some stand out for their size, historical significance, and the sheer weight of the stories they hold within their walls. These structures, once symbols of colonial power and oppression, have been reclaimed as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The central region's forts and castles offer a profound journey into the past, inviting us to engage with difficult truths and work towards a more just and equitable future. No exploration of Ghana's forts and castles would be complete without a visit to Cape Coast Castle, perhaps the most iconic and emotionally charged of them all. Built by the Swedish African Company in 1652, Cape Coast Castle eventually became the headquarters of the British slave trade in West Africa. Today, Cape Coast Castle stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a testament to the site's historical significance and its role in raising awareness about the transatlantic slave trade. The guide's narratives bring to life the stories of those who were imprisoned within these walls, their resilience in the face of unimaginable suffering, and their enduring hope for freedom. Just a short distance from Cape Coast Castle, another imposing structure stands sentinel over the Atlantic Ocean, Elmina Castle. Built by the Portuguese in 1482, Elmina Castle holds the somber distinction of being the oldest European structure in sub-Saharan Africa. Originally established as a trading post for gold and other goods, Elmina Castle soon became a major hub for the trade in enslaved Africans. Today, Elmina Castle serves as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a place of remembrance, reflection, and education. The castle stands as a symbol of both the darkest chapters of human history and the ongoing struggle for freedom and equality. Our journey along Ghana's Castle Coast now takes us to the Western region, a land shaped by the powerful currents of the Atlantic Ocean and the enduring legacy of the transatlantic trade. The Western region's forts and castles, though perhaps less renowned than their counterparts in the Central region, played a significant role in the region's history. They served as vital trading posts, connecting the interior's rich resources with the wider world. These coastal strongholds witnessed the arrival of European traders, the rise of powerful African kingdoms, and the complex interplay of commerce, diplomacy, and conflict. The Western region's forts invite us to look beyond the well-trodden paths of history and to appreciate the nuanced and multifaceted story of Ghana's coastal communities. In the heart of the Western region, overlooking Axim, stands Fort San Antonio, built by the Portuguese in 1515. It's one of the oldest European structures in Ghana, predating even Elmina Castle. Its strategic location made it a coveted prize for European powers. The fort witnessed numerous attacks and changes of hands. Today, it stands as a symbol of Axim's rich history and enduring connection to the wider world. As we conclude our journey along Ghana's Castle Coast, it is essential to reflect on the enduring legacy of these imposing structures. The forts and castles of Ghana are more than just historical relics. They are powerful symbols of the country's complex past and its ongoing journey of self-discovery. They stand as constant reminders of the transatlantic slave trade's horrors and the resilience of the African people. The presence of these castles has had a profound impact on the cultural identity of Ghana's coastal communities. In many ways, they have become integral to the local landscape, their imposing silhouettes a familiar sight against the backdrop of the Atlantic Ocean. The stories associated with these castles, passed down through generations, have become intertwined with local folklore, music, and art. Moreover, the castles have become important sites of pilgrimage for people of African descent from around the world seeking to connect with their ancestral heritage. Walking through the dungeons, touching the walls that once held captive their ancestors, evokes a range of emotions: sorrow, anger, but also a profound sense of connection and belonging. These visits are often deeply personal and spiritual journeys, serving as a powerful reminder of the shared history and resilience of the African diaspora. The legacy of Ghana's castles extends far beyond their physical presence. They serve as catalysts for dialogue, education, and reflection on the enduring legacies of slavery and colonialism. They challenge us to confront the darkest chapters of human history, to acknowledge the ongoing impact of these injustices on contemporary society, and to work towards a future where all people are treated with dignity and respect. The imposing walls of Ghana's forts and castles may seem to represent an unyielding grip on power. However, within those very walls and the communities surrounding them, the spirit of resistance simmered and often boiled over. The history of these fortifications is not just one of subjugation, but also a testament to the courage and resilience of those who dared to defy their oppressors. Numerous accounts tell of individual acts of defiance, often unrecorded but passed down through oral histories. Enslaved Africans, despite facing unimaginable cruelty, found ways to resist, sabotaging work, escaping through ingenious means, and even acts of open rebellion punctuated the seeming control of the European powers. These acts of defiance, though small in scale, chipped away at the facade of absolute power. One such rebellion, etched in the collective memory of Ghana, is the 1763 slave revolt at Fort Comenda in the Central Region. Led by an enslaved woman known only as Amber, the uprising saw captives seize control of the fort, killing several European officers. Though the rebellion was ultimately quelled, it stands as a powerful symbol of the unyielding desire for freedom and the lengths to which people would go to attain it. These stories of resistance, whether whispered through generations or documented in historical accounts, remind us that even within the most oppressive systems, the human spirit yearns for liberation. They are a testament to the indomitable will of those who refuse to be broken, inspiring future generations to fight for justice and equality. Section 2. Royal Resistance. When Kings Dared to Defy. The resistance to European encroachment was not limited to acts of individual bravery or localized uprisings. Powerful African kingdoms, recognizing the threat posed by the growing influence of European powers, took a stand against the encroaching tide of colonialism. Kings and chiefs, once partners in trade, became fierce opponents, defending their sovereignty and their people. One such figure is King Agaja Trudeau of Dahomey, present-day Benin, whose kingdom felt the impact of the slave trade. In the early 18th century, King Agaja actively opposed the trade, even going so far as to attack European forts on the coast, including those in present-day Ghana. His actions, though ultimately unable to dislodge the European presence, served as a beacon of resistance, inspiring others to challenge the legitimacy of the trade. Closer to Ghana's borders, the Ashanti Kingdom, renowned for its military prowess and centralized governance, presented a formidable obstacle to European expansion. The Ashanti kings throughout the 18th and 19th centuries engaged in numerous wars and strategic alliances to limit the influence of the British, often targeting forts and trading posts as symbols of colonial power. These acts of royal defiance highlight the complex power dynamics of the time. African leaders were not passive bystanders in the face of European encroachment. They were strategic thinkers, diplomats, and warriors who sought to protect their interests and their people. Their stories add another layer to our understanding of the period, demonstrating the agency and resilience of African societies in the face of colonialism. Section 3. From Dungeons to Diplomacy. Stories of Transformation. Ghana's forts and castles are not solely defined by the horrors of the slave trade. These structures become testaments to transformation and the enduring ability to reinvent. Many transitioned into different roles over time. Some became administrative centers, their dungeons repurposed. Others transformed into schools, churches, or prisons. The most significant transformation is their reclamation as sites of memory and education. Cape Coast Castle and Elmina Castle are now UNESCO World Heritage Sites. They serve as poignant reminders of the transatlantic slave trade. Many forts are reclaimed as spaces for cultural expression. Local communities showcase their heritage, art, music, and stories. The echoes of suffering give way to contemporary African culture. These stories remind us that history is dynamic. Ghana's forts and castles evolve into spaces for remembrance and celebration. They stand as reminders of our capacity for both darkness and light. Guardians of memory, beacons of hope. As we conclude our journey along Ghana's coastline, we are left with a profound sense of awe and reflection. The majestic forts and castles are guardians of memory, bearing witness to centuries of human experience. Their weathered walls whisper tales of ambition and greed, of the insatiable thirst for wealth and power. We are forced to confront the darkest chapters of our shared history, acknowledging the pain and suffering inflicted upon millions. Yet, amidst the somber reflections, a glimmer of hope emerges. These structures are being reclaimed as spaces for remembrance, education, and reconciliation. They stand as powerful testaments to the indomitable spirit of the African people. Section 2. The Enduring Legacy, Preservation and Remembrance. Ghana faces the monumental task of preserving these historical treasures for future generations. The ocean air poses a constant threat to these architectural marvels. Conservation efforts require significant resources and expertise. The Ghanaian government has made significant strides in their preservation. Cape Coast Castle and Elmina Castle, UNESCO World Heritage Sites, have undergone extensive restoration. There is a growing movement to ensure that the stories they hold are not forgotten. Museums within the forts showcase artifacts, documents, and oral histories. Educational programs and guided tours educate visitors about the transatlantic slave trade's horrors. These structures, once symbols of oppression, are being transformed into beacons of hope.